We've been hearing this conversation coming from the Maxi-Taxi school transport concessionaires that they are owed money where they cannot even pay, in some instances, for their car note, as it were, or their the mortgages they have on their homes, or even to get repairs or to get anything done. It makes it difficult for them to go and continue taking kids to school. That's what they do. I got in touch with Mr. Clyde McCann, who is the secretary of the association. He brought along with him this morning Carl Gaskin, who is the trustee of that organization. I want us to get to the bottom of that from their perspective anyway. So Clyde McCann and Carl Gaskin, thank you both for coming in this morning.
Thank you very much, sir, for having us this morning.
Appreciate having you here. If you can get that a little closer to you for me, yes, that's fine. You're good. All right. The Minister of Education said that he did not deny that there is about $12 million owed to your group. He did say they wanted to take a look at it and see what happens. My understanding is that last week, Wednesday or Thursday, some money was paid out. Some money was paid out to address this situation. So folks thought it would be okay. And then the next thing I hear a report coming that you guys are not happy with what you got because you didn't get anything close to the money you're supposed to get. So let me start with who is the trustee or the secretary is going to answer me on this. Let us go straight to the Secretary. Mr. Secretary, make clear to us, the Maxi-Taxi school transport concessionaires of Trinidad and Tobago, they take our kids to school. Let's be very clear on that so folks understand that. Now, this money that was promised, you guys went on Thursday or Friday for it. What happened?
Well, initially, the minister had told us in a meeting early on, about 3 weeks now. That,
which minister is this?
Minister of Education,
Mr. Garcia.
Yes. That he would look into it and get back to us in about, well, he didn't give us a time frame. And after some time on Monday, we went back on the TV station. He heard the report and he called and I said that within 1 week time, less than a week time, he would settle us the full amount.
After a TV report, he on a TV show, you say he responded to a report that you were not paid. He said he would get back to you within a week.
Within a week?
Within a week, yes.
And besides getting back to us within a week, he said he will settle us the
you
amount.
would be paid. Okay, right, I see.
Yeah. So here it is that on Friday, monies were sent to our banks for the last week of the term.
And this, you're talking about what? The term you're talking about, is it a 12-week term? How long was this term?
It's roughly, yes, a 12-week, 3/4 of 12.
A 12-week term, and of that, when you got the money on Friday, it was only for the last week.
Yes, and we are now owed 8 weeks payments, 8 weeks salary.
You are owed it. Okay, so you received only for the last month, as it were. That
the last week.
The last week from 12 okay. I'm a little
well, it's more or less
that.
9 weeks, 9 to 10 weeks we work.
I see. Okay. At the end of the day, a very small portion of what you expected is what you got.
Quite so.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Carl. You wanted to step in there?
Okay.
That's Carl Gaskin. He's the trustee. Go ahead, Carl.
Let me just retract a bit in case some people may not quite understand
bring us up to speed. Go
this
ahead.
program. So quickly, this program is a very important program, excellent program, designed by the Ministry of Education. You take children from way over the country to their respective schools, usually the rural areas who benefit most. So the children are happy, their parents are overjoyed because they reach the school and return safely. The concessionaires, that is the operators, they do a fabulous job, excellent, incomparable, unparalleled, no complaints whatsoever. So they get full marks. But the PTSC and the Ministry of Education, they are the ones who are falling down on the job. They don't pay on time. That's the main problem. They have always been late in payment.
So your payment comes from the PTSC, which gets the money from the Ministry of
That's correct. Yes.
Education.
Ministry of Education.
Okay. So that is where we are here. Have you heard anything? Well, first of all, anybody give an explanation as to why only such a small part of that money was paid?
Okay. Well, I had received a call from PTSC where I was told that the last week of payments were made, and I was told that the rest of the monies would be paid before the reopening of school.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where we stand. We are expecting the money before school open. Now this system runs with a fleet of 350 concessionaires.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That is operators.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We transport an amount of 36,000 students per day.
Mm.
And like Mr. Gaskin said, we runs from different parts of the country. For example, Maracas, Blanchisez, Toco, Matlat, San Grande,
Icaco, some places. Like that.
Mayaro, Manzanilla, Guayari, down to the southwest, Icacas, Cedros, Point Forting, Faizabad, Pinal, Siparia, Barakpo, and the whole of the central peninsula, right down to the west in Digomatin.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We do it at length all over the nation, and also we have the system running in Tobago. But the minister said he would settle us by the beginning of the term. We are hoping that this will happen, because this money we got is just over $3,000. That can't do anything to service our vehicles. Fuel is $100 per day. If we don't get money to the beginning of the term, our buses may not be able to run. It cannot run, in fact.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So then the children would be suffering.
Have you, if you can give me a backdrop of this, because if I am in a situation where money is owed me, and I am told by the party responsible for paying, I will do it within a specified space of time, unless I have a sordid or uncomfortable history with that person or agency, I would just take their word for it and wait. The fact that you seem anxious about this, which is what you articulated as reported in the paper. Somebody tell me, what has the history been with the payment that may have this situation so not trustful?
Very good. Let me come in on this. Like we said, they have always been late. 1 fortnight, probably 2 fortnights. So we thought we would accept that, because we probably thought that is in preparation, processing, and so on. This time, I'd like to make a correction in what has been said before. After the 3rd fortnight for this term has actually been 10 weeks, 11 weeks. So they paid 1 fortnight somewhere in the middle of June.
Fortnight. Okay. Mm-hmm.
1 fortnight. Mm-hmm. Of course, we found that was a bit strange, and we started talking a bit. So after that payment, we thought, well, everything was back on track. But it continued, and we got no payment until the end of the term. Mm-hmm. So that's when we started being on the media, different places, and making noise. What is going on, asking questions, and so on. Yet they kept promising, but nothing came to us. Nothing was comforting to our pockets, because we got nothing. So after a protest on Monday gone, that's the 14th. The 18th, which would have been Friday, that's when they paid the last week of the school term, which was the 3rd to the 7th. Incidentally, that week only had about 3 days for many. So, I mean, it seemed funny, but not to us, because we couldn't do anything with it. Some guys went to the bank and they saw nothing, obviously, because they were owing the bank for so long that the bank just took it when it came. Others went to the bank and couldn't recognize, because it was so small in comparison to what they would have had. So it did nothing either. So we are here hoping that we still hear that they're saying we're going to get paid. But those words are only comforting. It doesn't do anything to ourselves.
It is 17 minutes before 12 o'clock. The two voices you're hearing is that of the last one was Carl Gaskin. He's the trustee of the Maxi-Taxi School Transport Concessionaires of Trinidad and Tobago. He's accompanied here by the secretary of that association, Clyde McCann. The minister, did you find it curious, Clyde? Because I find it very curious that in fact the payment came for the last week. What is the thinking, your understanding as to why they would choose if they're X amount of fortnights, and you choose the very last one, skipping the ones in line? What do you think is the reason for that?
I would guess that it was because the money is smaller. He paid us that 1 week or even 3 days, and what he promised, he said that in one of the meetings that he is going to allocate monies from the other ministries and wherever else. And this money is supposed to be allocated in the budget quite a long time now. How come could you say that you're going to allocate money now for it? You're going to search for money for us. We are doing a human service here. Why can't you pay us on time.
Well, you're doing a job. I mean, clearly, both parties are winners once everything is followed here.
And this is a business, sir.
Exactly, that's what I'm
This is a
saying.
business
Yes,
we're doing.
it is a business, of
A
course.
Maxi-Taxi, the cost of a Maxi-Taxi is over $500,000.
At the end of the day, you're quite right. It is a business,
Yeah.
and it should be operated as a business. I am just going to wait for a couple of days to see what happens with the promise. And failing, either Clyde or Carl, failing meeting that deadline, I don't like to give alternatives, but are you saying that it is so problematic, almost rhetorical, that it would be impossible for you guys to return to work?
Well, it is so.
To your commitment.
You have said it quite correctly. And I do not know why they would try to allow this system to be broken down or disrupted in any way. But if we aren't paid, we aren't able to function. At this stage, it is a crisis. We are all out. And we need to be paid. We need to be paid now. And we need to have a promise that we're going to be paid regularly. That's the whole idea.
It is a business. 36,000 school children are moved around daily. You're talking about what? About 350 concessionaires?
That's correct.
Yes.
And you take that multiplied by 4, those are a lot of people being affected. I mean, the families.
Exactly.
That is a very serious situation. I am just going to remain optimistic, but to the traveling public who hearing about this, is there anything comforting words you want to give them? Because you're far and wide. You go from Tico Martin all the way up to Icacos. Just about every part of Trinidad and Tobago is where you're moving children.
That's correct, sir. We are doing, like I said, a human service, and there is no transport system in this country across that would do a transport service towards school children or anyone like the Maxi-Taxi concessionaires. So here it is. We're doing a good job, the best job in transportation, safe and on timely service. The children reach the school every day on time, accident free. So why we have to suffer this fate?
Well, I have not heard anyone question the efficiency or competence of the job that is being done by the concessionaires. As a matter of fact, nobody even heard anything about it. And when you don't hear about something in Trinidad and Tobago, you know when nothing bad is going on. Because if it's bad, you would hear about it. I'm going to remain optimistic about this, Carl, and hope that we see this played out as promised by the minister. I did attempt to get some answer out of the ministry. I was unsuccessful in doing that, but what is reported, the minister has said it will be dealt with. You saying that you were given the assurance it was dealt with, and I am hoping that is the case. You wanted to say something else, Carl?
Yes, that you asked a question a while ago, that what should the public think? Well, we would like the parents to know of the situation, because they may not have been aware of what's happening. So they should be on notice that should this service be disrupted, they will probably have to put things in place to get their children to school and back safely in a way that's of a great concern. So we would like them to know that, because we would not be able to continue in this condition. You know, the camelback is broken, actually. We have 350 people camel on the ground right now. I do not know what is the intention. We really in that sad state. Remember, we are like public citizens. We have our bills. We have our concerns. We have own the bank. So many things, just like everybody else. I wonder, and I should ask this question, if anybody isn't paid a month, would they come and didn't get paid, they worked, would they come out and do another month? I suppose they would come out, but not to work, not to give that kind of service. They need the money. And that's the lawful thing. That's the law of the land. You work, you should be paid.
Understood. You were about to say, Carl.
And
Clyde?
And to add to this, sir, we owe in the banks in arrears, right? 1 month, 2 months. Sometimes some of the guys are owing for 3 months. We have interest to pay. We have to find the money to pay the interest. How are we going to do this? We ourselves have school children. We have children going to school. We have to make up the demands to buy a uniform, buy books.
The question of that late payment is a very interesting area to be dealt with. Did you raise this with the minister? The issue of the arrears and who's going to pay for these penalties that you have incurred as a result of this? As a result of late payment, I mean, I think it is asking a little too much to ask the recipients to pay the cost of interest late payment if, in fact, it was caused by something. Life is causation. If it was caused by this, maybe the source has to look at dealing with this.
I wish he could assist us some way or the other, because the interest rate for owing the banks
Mhm.
is pretty high, and they need their money. The banks are on our heels, so they need their money. When the time comes, you have to find something for them.
Was that discussed at all, Carl?
It has been a conversation ongoing with PTSD at least because of the late payment. So this has been ongoing. There's always problems that way. But of course, they always promise to address it, but nothing forthcoming. So we're back in a bind just as well.
I don't want to throw gasoline on this situation. I'm going to
Sure.
stay on the side of being optimistic that the statement reportedly, the statement attributed to the minister, he said he could not verify the $12 million debt, but we have to do a complete review of the whole system. While we recognize that the Maxi-Taxi drivers perform yeoman service, there is some gray areas where we need to clear up. For example, we do not have an accurate number of students who they transport on a daily basis. These are matters I'm sure will be looked into, and we will wait to see that the promise of the minister is indeed fulfilled after he's satisfied with these things, and all things being done above board. There should not be a problem on it. I hope indeed this is resolved amicably.
Yes.
We would hope and we continue to pray that it do
Yes.
in fact goes that way.
Well, I just want to thank both of you. Clyde McCann, the secretary of the Maxi-Taxi School Transport Concessionaires of Trinidad and Tobago, and Carl Gaskin. I know you guys are working today and you took the time to come out this morning, and I appreciate that very much. Get back to your jobs. Have yourself a safe day. Something in conclusion you wanted to say?
Thank you very much, and thanks for having us air our plight. Thanks again.
It is indeed a pleasure having both of you here. If it's happening, we like to talk about it. And when we find folks who are doing service that we have not heard any reproach from about, then we want to make sure we continue that. In addition to, we're talking about 350 families and 36,000 students, something that must be on the discussion table for everybody. Have yourself a wonderful day. Thank you so much.
Kindly, sir.
Thank you.